Hello, hello, and welcome to the Otafest podcast, Season 6, Episode 17. I'm Angelo, and I'm here with Nancy and Jay.
Woo!
That's Nancy. I'm Jay.
Hello, Jay. Hello, Nancy.
Hello.
Hello, Angelo.
Just a reminder, Otafest 2021 has been officially cancelled out of the greatest concern for the safety and health of our community. Thank you to any individual who decided to donate their pre-purchase ticket. Going forward, only refunds will be issued. All details can be found at otafest.com. Thank you for your support, and take care of each other.
Yay.
Yes.
And also not yay.
Yay!
Because obviously...
I am offended, sir.
Why?
You said yay at the cancellation of Otafest.
Yay as in other things. No for the cancellation.
Or yay as in refunds.
Yay as in this was the smartest decision we could take.
Yeah, that really is true.
Yeah. Honestly, though, at this point, it's been about a week since we made the initial announcement, and I have to say that just about everybody in the community, as expected, has been very supportive and understanding, and it's honestly very heartwarming to see as a member of the planning staff to know that the community's on our side and they understand the reasons behind it. Obviously, we're at a disadvantage because we are earlier in the year. I don't know if cons later that run late into next year will be running. I'm sure somebody else is going to run a con locally before we might, but we just ask for everyone's patience while we are doing our best to make our way through everything that's happening. And again, the support's been amazing. Thank you.
It was so heartwarming to see.
Just like, on social media, and we have some internal stuff that we see, and it's like, I don't know. It's like it's been tough on everybody, but just people aren't dumb in our community. They know exactly why the reasons that are being used are like legitimate, for one thing. But
Otafest community has the best people ever. Thank you.
I swear to God, though, if I hear about cosplayers showing up at anti-mask rallies, I will find you.
Wow.
Why the hell would a cosplayer show up at an anti-mask rally? Cosplayers wear masks what they don't even need
right?
to.
Yeah.
They wear masks for fun, dude.
What's the thing that you can literally wear, like you can become an anime character? It's like it's like a Kigu, but it's not a Kigu.
Oh, what is
you know what
is
I mean?
It Kigu Gao or Anime Gao?
Yeah, it's like I don't know if that's the term that I'm thinking of. But it's like where they sort of, I don't know, name an anime character, and then they like sort of a human character, and it's like they wear them as a skin suit, which is not appealing.
So it is literally like Kigurumi or Kigu for short.
Yeah, but I think
is what you're thinking of. I thought that wasn't it, because like a Kigurumi is like the big pajamas that.
The adorable giant onesie pajama things.
But no. If you look up Anime Gao, like anime face Kigurumi.
Oh gosh.
It is horrifying.
Yeah,
it's horrifying in that like anime girls or anime characters in general are proportioned in ways that humans are not. Like straight up. It
is like watching a brightly colored gray aliens walk down the street. Like I love cosplay. I love cosplayers. Anime Gao fucking terrifies me.
A little bit, yeah.
I like how it's like, I love the community, but this part of the community, I swear to God. No, I mean, it's just
I swear to God.
Like, I think some come out better than others, but that's like saying how like fursuits or cosplay in general, some come out better than others.
Okay, I've absolutely seen some Anime Gao, some Kigu that does look kind of cool.
Right. I think conceptually they're cool as well. Like
I have no problem with it on concept. It's just so hard to execute on it.
I think so.
That more often than not, it turns out like Jesus. It's hard to describe the emotion that it wells up within me.
Nancy's absolutely correct. There's serious uncanny valley vibes that
Yeah.
can be overcome, because I'm literally looking up some pictures right now, and some look way better than others, and it's like, obviously not dissing on anybody or praising anyone in particular either, but it's just like the understanding that some, based on maybe the proportions of the rest of their costume and not just the heads and faces, like, but they all sort of, some work better together, some don't. And it's also just personal preference. It's sort of like, I'm not a huge fan of ball joint dolls. Never have been. But I sort of place it in the same, like, sphere of there's a little uncanny valleyness. But some people are super into them, which is cool.
Yep.
I'm
that
neutral on
sums it
ball
up pretty
joint
good.
dolls. I'm like, yeah, that's okay.
I don't find...
But Kigu, it's like, Jesus Christ, what is going on here?
Like I said, it's the weird uncanny valley thing. I'm used to seeing these in 2D. Seeing them in 3D is a little bit weird, but you know what? You do you.
VTubing is the perfect medium.
Yes.
It really
You're
is.
still technically 2D, but you can react live as a 3D real human person. It is...
Oh, now that I think about it, there is a new VTuber management company based out of the United States.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Yes, it is called VShojo. It is a talent-first company where, unlike Hololive or Niji-Sanji, where like that company owns the VTuber, as it were.
Right.
Like, Hololive owns Mori Calliope and Amelia Watson and Gargura. If the streamer behind wanted to leave, they don't have that character anymore. They're gone.
Right.
Yeah, they own the IP, the character.
Right. It's like any given, like, Looney Tunes character, for example, where, you know, if the original VA passes away or quits, then they have to find a replacement. It's like, oh, I'll talk about it later in a minute, but it's like the new Animemaniacs.
Exactly. Whereas with VShojo, because it started with existing VTubers, one of their core principles is letting the VTuber retain the rights to their character, which I think is really cool.
That is quite nice, actually. That's very generous, because most companies are very they see their employment of that actor and like they see it as an investment into the character. Like so if a favorite VTuber of yours, if someone replaced that character, would you know?
Yes, I stopped watching Kizuna Ai when they changed out the voice actor.
Well, it's not, like, in this case, it's not just the voice actor, right? Like, yes, the character, like the VTuber character is a character in that it's fictional, like, imagery, but the personality behind it is potentially real. It's not the
personalities behind them can feel extremely real.
Well, it's not that it can feel... No, hold on, listen. It's not that it can feel, like, real. It's because a lot of the ways, like, I'm not into VTubing, but I would assume that a lot of the times it's just the regular person. They're just behind the visual persona. So it's not like Mel Blanc and Bugs Bunny. And it's not like Aya Hirano and Suzumiya Haruhi or something. It's like, it's not a written character. It's literally a representation of a person. If I VTubed, it'd be me. I'm not going to put on a character. I'm just going to say the same stupid crap I say all the time, but with a facsimile of myself. And in that way, I don't even understand how Hololive, for example, can retain rights to that in a certain sense. Like, I can understand how, like, you know, contractually they've laid it out, but it doesn't really make sense to me if it's a non-scripted personal character representation, you know? It's not
like, that's just
there's no expectations where it's like Bugs Bunny's VA is now some other guy, because obviously Mel Blanc is gone, but like he still has to be Bugs Bunny.
If it's not Mel Blanc saying, "Nah, what's up, Doc?"
Right?
You know that it's someone else.
You do know, but again,
off.
that's not Mel
I've been
Blanc's,
hearing
right?
it the same
that's
way.
That's just a character
for 50 years, and now it's different.
Yeah.
But no, with like you're saying with VTubers, it's to the next level because for the most part, it is entirely unscripted. A VTuber will have like lore elements that they'll try to work into conversation, things like that.
Sure.
Maybe certain nervous tics, but like if you have a 6 or an 8 hour stream, even the best people at improv, they're going to let their own personality shine through over the course of like
Right.
6 or 8
And
hours.
if it's live with no editing, like you better believe
Exactly.
that you're getting a lot of that person into it. And again, I assume that I don't know a lot about the VTuber industry in general, but I would assume that most VTubing starts with the platform of I am a person who wants to do some live streams. I don't always want to be on, but I understand that people want to interact with some visual representation of me. So I'm going to start VTubing. I've created this character / name, but again, it's still just me. I don't understand how someone can take that away from them. The only people I can understand that get a cut are like maybe on the technology side where like you do the face rigging plus the art that has to be done for the character. That should have, people should be paid or compensated somehow for that. That part I can understand, but as in terms of licensing it away to somebody else, like this sounds mean maybe, but because it's obviously at the beginning of this industry, but like don't give yourself away, if that makes sense.
What if I told you that for a very good live 2D model, the kind that you would see in HoloLive, you might be spending upwards of $5,000.
I'm not surprised,
What do you mean
considering the
I
amount
must
of
be?
work.
Well,
like
If-
to create the
if
character to like it might be over $5,000
from character design, drawing, and rigging,
right?
$5,000 for like the best.
And that's without
not
the actual
unreasonable.
personality or the time or anything behind it.
Right.
So right away, the point of like HoloLive, for example, is that they do a few specific things. They do talent acquirement. So like to my
Acquisition.
understanding, when they auditioned for North American talent, for English talent, I should say, for English speaking talent, they had some ideas of what they wanted, and then they just opened up audition. Like for example, Maury, to my understanding, when she auditioned, she barely knew what VTubers were. She basically did it because her friends were auditioning,
Sure.
Nice.
and then everything turned out great.
Now, again, this is a little
But,
bit
like,
different.
The,
If they're
the artists
auditioning,
behind these are like the best, like some of the best.
Right.
For off the top of my head, Ina, the octopus girl from HoloLive, the artist behind her was the same artist behind the Kino no Tabi light novels, the art for that. The same artist for from Fate Grand Order, Abigail Williams and Hokusai. Like
right? I
they're
get that
artists
there's
going
work.
back
I
a
get that there's
long
work
time.
behind it, but then so again, I guess it really comes down to me and Nancy. I don't know how you feel about it because obviously you have a more professional perspective on it. It's one thing if you audition for a character that was created by a organization as a character to be played. It's another thing entirely to go into it from almost like an indie standpoint, such as like how Dio is sort of approaching it, in my opinion, right? Like where there's an idea that is just the representation of her. She is not changing things to suit like she can change her hair, she can
That's
change it,
kind of the
everything about
difference
that, but there is
between,
a
like,
difference,
the other agencies in VShojo.
right? So
Because whereas like HoloLive, they were out from the ground
Okay.
up to build up the character.
that's fine.
VShojo, on the other hand, is more like an indie record label signing on bands that already exist. They didn't put in the effort to create the character,
Right.
but they want to make them a little bit better. Like they can help with
Right.
redesigning
Right.
or
And it's
updating
essentially
their
just
model. They can
yeah.
help with like
At that point, it's just
sponsorship deals or whatever.
managing an idle stable, essentially.
Exactly.
But
No,
And
that
so that's
sounds-
one of the reasons why they don't own the characters, because they didn't create the character.
but yeah, like
That sounds so weird to say, an idle stable. Like,
I don't. That's literally what it is.
So
if you like,
Actually,
I'm not.
you know what?
I am not, like I'm also
There was
not
an
super.
anime
I'm not into
where
the.
there were horse girls that were also idols. So
No, I'm not. Okay, here's the thing. Like, I'm not into idol culture either. But like, let's be honest.
Well, I'm
if
not
you're
into
into
idol
idols,
culture
and I
at
have
all.
lots of friends who are into idols, like that stuff is essentially it's like any showbiz type stuff where it's like it's pretty cutthroat. The talent management is insane. We talked about it before about how like some what do you call it? Some talents can't even reveal that they're like married or dating because you have to keep
Oh,
the
God,
chance
yes.
You have to keep the
ideal
persona.
alive for
Yeah.
for people to think that they have a chance with you. It's such like it's in my opinion disgusting as all hell. But I don't take away the talent from these people or anything. I'm just saying that the way that they are treated and managed and discarded is like obviously people know about it, but it's still supported and people don't care. It's I don't know. Anyways,
closest thing to that VTubers might have, on more of a case-by-case basis, but definitely is the matter of identity. Like, for example, almost all of the Hololive girls, the English Hololive girls,
Mhm.
for the most part, people know who they are, but there's actually never been any kind of real confirmation,
right.
even in the more obvious instances.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of better that way.
Nancy, would you do like if you were like, oh, I'm gonna do a stream and I'm gonna hop on, but you had to do a character live for like 6 hours, would you do that?
Sure.
Like that sounds like so much
Okay.
worse.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of compartmentalizing because you have to wear that character's skin for like 6
Without
8 hours
editing,
or
without
whatever
the
you're
benefit of
streaming.
editing either.
Yeah, and there's no editing. You know, you have to constantly.
Can't say them gamer words.
I can't say all them words things that you're not allowed to say. But like, it's. I have seen what some VTubers do to sort of to stay in that character, and yeah, it's hard. Like a lot of them will do things like, you know, they'll keep like pictures of their character around to like remind them, this is who I am
God, that
right
sounds
now. This is who I
terrifying.
look like. Sorry?
That just sounds terrifying.
Well, it's part of the job. At the end of the day, they're doing it for money. It's a job.
Oh, for sure. I get that. And like it's easy to motivate when you sort of you understand what you're getting into. It's not like if you're just jumping into it from somebody who's completely untrained and doesn't have professional expectations of themselves, but it is still like extremely intimidating to me. And I'm the same way that like I don't have any of that. I'm not pretending that I have any of those professional aspirations or experience, but just like the idea of it, even knowing like the stuff on the back end that could help you, such as experience and stuff, is like I would not want to step into it. But okay, so like back on what I was saying about Animaniacs. So there's a new Animaniacs. I think all of us grew up with Animaniacs. I loved
Sure did.
Animaniacs.
I loved it. It was so zany.
I think like it's not a real big stretch to say that like watching a lot of sort of comedy shows growing up as a kid has informed my own sense of humor. And obviously as you're like in Animaniacs especially, like, or at least older cartoons, comedy cartoons, even if they were quote unquote for kids, a lot of those shows had jokes written in that were clearly like for adult audiences, but you could not catch it when you were a kid.
As a
obviously,
child, no.
yeah, they were
Anyone could put Pinky and the Brain back on, and I'd just start laughing my ass off still.
right.
Pinky and the Brain was like a different class of humor. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it so much.
I haven't so
It hasn't aged.
So obviously, like I said, new Animaniacs is popping on. I don't know if it's like the same variety show type of Animaniacs where they used to have like the old squirrel lady with the little kid squirrel.
Slappy?
Yeah, Slappy and whoever. And then like the three pigeons and like, you know how like there was a
good
lot
feathers?
of, yeah, like how they were all, and Pinky the Brain and everything. Like there's like sort of variety show segments where it's like a short within the whole of the show.
yeah.
I don't know if they've been doing that, But because I haven't seen any episodes, I will say the one thing that has thrown me off regarding to voice acting. Has anyone seen a trailer or anything regarding like this the new show?
I've seen the trailer.
I saw the anime segment.
Okay, and Nancy, sorry,
I saw the trailer.
you saw the trailer.
Yeah.
Did either of you notice or know in general that so the voice actors are still the original voice actors, but clearly
Yes.
they've aged 25, 35
Yes.
years. So like you can
yeah.
hear that they are the original voice actors, but they've got like, I assume maybe they smoke or drink or, through the course of everyday life, worn down their
Dude,
voice.
no. Even if you don't, your
Yeah.
vocal cords age with you. So
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
So like,
I'm
it's
not
not
ever
as
going to
bad.
sound like this when I get older.
It's not as bad for like Yakko and Wacko, because men's voices are
It
just like
is most recognizable
in
on
Dot.
Dot.
Because you can hear she's like, "Oh, brother!" Like there's a real
Struggle
gravel.
to get back to that high pitch.
There's a bit of that gravel that will not go away. I don't think you can
Yeah.
edit out the gravel, and it's nothing against her because like she knows the character. I honestly, I don't love the sound of it in a manner of speaking, but I like that because there's no one else in this world that knows that character the way that she does. I'm okay with it.
I would trust that voice actor to put the personality of Dot back into that character.
Right.
Exactly.
more than
I would
care
never
about the voice.
consider. I would never consider recasting her,
Yeah. But yeah, I just
unless she was physically unable to.
yeah. I really need to find out where it's showing. Animaniacs.
Yeah, I kind of want
It's
to
just
know.
on Amazon.
Is it just on
Is
Amazon?
it? I'm
Or
gonna
was it
binge
Hulu?
watch
No,
that.
Hulu.
Oh,
Is it?
It was
never mind.
Hulu, I believe.
Never mind.
Oh, it is on Hulu. Yeah, you're right.
Damn it.
Animaniacs episode taken down after accidentally featuring sex hotline.
Wait, what?
Interesting.
What?
It's just
What?
one of the stories. Like I just typed Animaniacs into Google, and then it's one of the top stories. Is that I'm not gonna read the article out loud, but I guess they pulled the
So
episode.
just one of
First
the
of all, they
phone
already
numbers?
pulled the episode, but it had to do with they probably accidentally put in a phone number that had that linked to a sex hotline. That's my guess because that kind of stuff's happened in the past before in different shows.
Don't
Isn't
cartoons
that
usually?
why they just use like
555?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are still real numbers, technically speaking.
Are they? I thought those
Yes.
were like blocklisted as just reserve numbers that don't do anything.
No, that's
I think
not.
anybody who got 555 can absolutely request to get a new one. Just like anybody who gets the number 8675309.
And if you don't know what that references, it's okay. Just don't phone that number.
Apparently, some old lady in California way back in the day had that number, and she started getting spammed with calls.
Oh, probably.
Was her name
and
Jenny?
she absolutely had to get her number changed.
Oh, poor lady. It would have been extra creepy, though, if her name was Jenny, though.
It would be.
That is why you do not put real phone numbers or even random phone numbers in media.
They do and they
just
don't.
stick 555.
A lot of places nowadays, they like cartoons can get away with it, but a lot of shows will either intentionally use that as a marketing tactic. Like if you call that number, you're gonna get.
Oh, so like if my show
pre-recorded voice
had a Domino's pizza
Something like that.
paid advertisement, product placement, put their real number in there.
Yeah, probably.
Or if it had the Chicago deep dish number, they could sue us for copyright infringement.
Jeez.
Potentially. We're not talking about pizza.
jeez. Not today, but we will in a
putting-
future episode.
If somebody would just eat the pizza, we could talk about it.
Make me.
And then tell me how much
Buy
it
me the
destroyed your
pizza.
formative years
Buy it
memories.
yourself, you big baby.
I fully intend to. I just don't order pizza that often.
I see. But yeah, I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna try to hop onto the new Animaniacs. Just I want to see if the magic's still there.
I do too, actually.
Yeah, it's it's this nostalgia. Like so yesterday, like literally last night, I found out about when I was a kid, I played a lot of Diablo 2 growing up. Like there's this expansion called Lord of Destruction. It was amazing for its time, especially. I think the last time I went back to Diablo was a solid like 8 years ago, just to like see if I still liked it, and it was still fun, but it's not great. Then I found, like last night I was informed of before that, Blizzard in the past 5 years have been sort of like teasing, no leaks, but just teasing that there could be like a Diablo 2 remake of some kind, but no real official news.
I wonder if it'll be better than the Warcraft 3 remake.
Maybe. But like anyway, like nothing has ever been confirmed on that end, but fans have always wanted more D2 stuff because D3 is not the same as D2. There's a lot of things that have changed. It's not necessarily for the worse, but D2, in my opinion, maybe not just nostalgia factor, is a lot better of a game. And there's a new group of people who came together and made something called like Project Diablo 2, which is essentially Diablo 2, not necessarily remastered, but they continued development on it. The idea was that they wanted to expand what was already there, so it uses the Diablo 2 game as like a baseline. You have to have the original Diablo 2 installed on your computer, and then you install their application, which is essentially, I guess, some sort of...
Sounds like a mod.
Sort of like a mod? Yeah, but it's like, it's bigger than that because they like, from what I've seen, I haven't played anything yet because I'm trying not to do too much stuff. There's too many games on the horizon for me right now. But like...
It sounds like it's much bigger though. At what point does a mod become the main game?
Become the
like
new
uses
expansion.
the other game as a platform.
They're not really trying to put in new expansions necessarily, but they're like, a lot of the stuff that you would do in Diablo 2 that was like fun was like your skill set and your abilities and how much skill points you could put into stuff, and they're expanding that because they wanted to make more viable builds, for example, or they wanted to tweak broken mechanics or fix ones that were just too weak. Like, you know, they wanted to create a certain sense of balance. They have their own ladder system. They have their own seasons, and you can play hardcore versus softcore, like, you know, one death or like one death permadeath, or you know, just soft death, soft resets. They have this whole system set up. Honestly, it looks super cool. I'm probably gonna try it out, just like I will with Animemaniacs, but I want to know if the magic's still there, essentially, and if they've improved on the magic is a big deal.
That's fair.
And it's not like a Warcraft or a World of Warcraft like classic when the vanilla came back out like 2 or 3 years ago or whatever it was, because that was a whole thing where it's like, this is base game, you get all the quote unquote fun of grinding and no quality of life improvements. Like, this is still just Diablo 2, but as if they never stopped creating content for it, and I think that's really cool.
Man, on that thought, it's like, even though, like you say, World of Warcraft Vanilla was literally World of Warcraft Vanilla.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Warcraft 3 remastered, on the other hand, was just an absolute dumpster fire.
That's what I heard.
Ooh.
I remember, I think we talked about this several months ago when it first came out, about problems, about a lot of its problems, I think.
I didn't even realize this, because I never played the original or the remaster.
I did.
I have no skin in the game. But I was
played the
reading an
original.
article like 2 nights ago that just somehow mentioned about it. Apparently, like, the launcher for the game, or not the launcher, the main menu, was a web app?
Maybe.
What
I don't know about that.
What were they thinking?
I don't know anything about that. I do know, I remember basically like you know what, before I get into it, I want to look into it a little bit, but I remember there was something very specific that people didn't like, and I think it had to do with like the game client itself.
It replaces the old Warcraft.
That's what it was.
Great game client.
That's exactly what it is. You cannot play
the biggest
you
thing.
cannot play
It's-
the original
you can't go
Warcraft
back.
3. That's what it is.
They did this, if I remember right, it was like a forced update.
Yeah.
And you can't go back and play the original anymore. Remastered is the only one that exists. And,
If you wanna play on
Blizzard,
official
that
servers-
was the most fucking tone-deaf, stupid decision they could have possibly made.
Yeah. It was an incredible
Like-
decision.
On one hand, with World of Warcraft,
wow.
they realized that, yeah, we think that the original World of Warcraft was absolutely a worse game, but people want it, so let's give it to them as they remembered it. And then Warcraft 3, it's like, well, let's try to make it better. And even if it's not better, let's sweep the existence of the original under the rug. Let us remove it from the universe.
It's
Like, what the fuck?
it's mind-boggling, honestly. Like, imagine if someone came and told you that you could not play, like, you got a remastered version of your favorite game, it's just no good, or not no good, but it's just mediocre, and you're like, I just want to play the original game. I had a lot of great times with the original, and they're like, no, we've gotten rid of that for you. You won't be needing this anymore.
Like,
oh god! I
Like,
can't
what
believe-
if they made Tetris 2, but it was first person, and all the blocks had guns? What if they just turned Tetris 2 into Call of Duty?
I mean, that's the dream, right? That's what everyone
That is the
wants.
dream,
No.
I guess.
That's what everyone wants. I'm pretty
Honestly,
sure.
like,
I'm in
I'm
fact,
not even joking.
I'm
If
gonna
this
tell
was
you-
the mid 2000s, I would say that yes,
I'm going to
we
tell
want
you
Tetris 2 to
that
be
that
Call of
is
Duty.
in fact the dream, and when I release it, I'm just gonna remove the old Tetris. You won't want to play that anymore. Trust me.
Tetris 1 is no longer available. We have updated all the old NES and Game Boy cartridges to be Tetris
oh
2.
god, dude.
This vaguely reminds me of that time Windows 10 forced an update to the new Edge and everyone hated it because it just really forcibly inserted it into your life.
Oh my god.
Sure, but then you just don't use Edge, and nothing has
Yep.
changed in my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not nearly as bad, of course, but
Yeah.
it sort of stinks of the same smell, you know?
It
Yes
does.
and no.
It
I mean,
does.
they literally own the platform in which you use. Like, the only reason you can use the browser of your choice
I
is
don't think anybody made emotional attachments to Edge.
yeah.
No.
But here's the other but here's the point I'm trying to make is that like the only reason you can even use the internet browser of your choice is because Windows has allowed it to be so.
No. The courts demanded it.
Sure, if you want,
That was one of the reasons why Microsoft was going to be broken down in the 90s.
I guess, yeah,
Was
antitrust.
because Internet
sure.
Explorer was included with Windows.
There was an antitrust case about it.
Sure, but if that wasn't the case, like if
In the
they
EU,
did
to
not,
my understanding,
if they didn't rule.
can't even bundle Internet Explorer with Windows. Instead, they have to give you like a pop-up or something
Right.
that lets you choose which browser to use.
No, that actually
Yeah.
does sound right. I do wish sometimes that our antitrust laws were stronger in general, in North America in general. Like Canada's not too bad, but obviously the US has gone off the rails a bit. But on the other hand, like I don't want it to be as crazy as like the EU's, especially when it comes to like content, specific content. Like I remember, what was it, like last year or 2 years ago, that they were essentially banning memes in a manner of speaking because of copyright law.
Do they know how memes work?
Look, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what the ruling was. I just remember that, like, I think it was either the EU or it might have just been the UK. But the idea was that,
No, that was an EU thing. That was an
right,
EU
and I think it was like, because memes can potentially be using copyrighted materials, such as like scenes from a show.
Well,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, what was going on
Yeah.
was that the EU wanted Google to pay when they linked to other websites' content, I should say. So like news groups, news companies and stuff were just hemorrhaging money because a lot of times like Google News and stuff would just copy the things right over. And the EU wanted to stop that kind of transformative use of the material so that the news corporations could, like the media corporations, could continue to run their business, which on the surface level, yeah, that's a good thing. You want like a free and open media to be able to exist. You want them to be able to be profitable. You don't want to have state-run media. But the way that they wrote the laws were so vague and so overbearing that it would have effectively made memes illegal because you were copying and just reusing, remixing content.
But yeah,
Like that's
you
what
have
was
to.
going on
yeah,
there.
Obviously, we are in like I don't want to use the word unprecedented, but we're in different times when it comes to like the flow of information, the flow of copyright, trademarking, things like that. So it is a harder sort of thing to navigate, and you really can't blanket statement a lot of things like you used to be able to. But that being said, like, I don't know, it's just sometimes it's like legislators really don't think about exactly what it affects in terms of its own like
good
social
God, no.
fabric, in terms of the sort of professional fabric as well. Like, the whole thing with, is it Twitch right now with DMCA takedowns?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right?
Sure is.
Like, I don't want to get too deep into it because it's a big rabbit hole, but so
Well, like,
many
the biggest
people have
issue
lost
is that Twitch-
so many people have lost their VODs in general because
Well, that's not the biggest issue. The issue is that Twitch is going through,
Yep.
and any old VOD, years old VOD, or even a clip being like a 5 to 45 second clip from a stream, if it contains copyrighted material, you can get a copyright strike, and a lot of people are just having their channel completely deleted. In the past, like, Twitch actively does monitor it.
Yep.
If Twitch finds copyrighted material, it will actually mute that part of a VOD
Yeah, I remember that.
or a clip even. And I think that's actually a very fine way of dealing with it. Of course, it's annoying for the content creator, but that's a way of covering Twitch's ass.
Yep.
The problem is Twitch started banning people if, I believe the difference being, if the content owner catches it and not Twitch, then Twitch started banning people instead of just taking down the VOD or doing something like that. Like, YouTube's method of doing it is bad enough as it is. Honestly, all things considered, as ham-fisted and heavy-handed as YouTube's system is, within the bounds of the DMCA and the copyright laws, I feel like that's kind of what has to be. But Twitch, on the other hand, they're just going the
ham fist.
If YouTube is ham-fisted, Twitch is like fucking
Nuclear.
pancake fisted. I don't even know.
They went nuclear, essentially. Raised Earth, essentially.
Like,
So-
they're going to an extent that they do not have to.
Yeah.
That nobody likes. That isn't even easier.
Because
Because I don't know.
Here's the thing that I'm going to put forth right here, which is I absolutely understand why they're doing it, but when you remove essentially that kind of content from the sort of cultural zeitgeist, like the idea that, you make a reference to a Terminator movie, or you make a reference to a song, or you sing a snippet or something like that, what you're essentially doing is when you say, like, nobody can make these references, nobody can use them as like a baseline for some sort of shared cultural understanding or an experience, what you're doing is, in the big grand scheme of things, is you're you're not really enriching anything. You're not pushing anyone to create new content, because people already create new content. But we refer to the past, to history, to everything, and that's part of, like, actual societal.
That's culture.
That's society. That's culture. That's like it's an actual thing, and people cannot actually just stand by and be happy about it, because what you're doing is just you're taking that away. You're literally taking part, like, references to history, to culture, to significant moments, because they're copyrighted. And I get copyright, but you can't do that. There has to be a line. There has to be a hard line, And the hard line can't be just zero. You can't just have. You can't
and
have it at
unfortunately,
all.
that's not even Twitch's fault. That's more copyright laws' fault. The copyright system as it is incredibly broken. And if we need to blame anyone, well, you can actually kind of blame the RIAA for that, but you would mostly blame Disney.
Disney plays a big part, for sure. It's always the large
Disney is
organizations.
the actual reason that the copyright laws as they are broken as hell.
Because they've lobbied, because the American, but it's also because, don't want to get into this too much either, but it's American political system being allowed to be.
Are we getting into politics?
Being allowed to lobby for things as a private organization has absolutely decimated the sort of conversations that you can have logically when someone's being paid off to talk only in one direction. That's all it really comes down to.
Has it ever occurred to you that Animal Crossing is a dictatorship?
It's not a dictatorship.
You don't think so?
No?
Can the villagers rise up as one and remove you as from the position
Here's
of
the
mayor?
thing. You can leave. in that game. People can leave, like the villagers can leave the island. Dictatorships don't just leave people leave.
I mean, they can.
No, they don't just. They don't get removed.
Leave.
They are leaving of their own volition, and they join of their own volition. So therefore, that's like a core tenet. There's not like you can't if you don't control where people come and go, then therefore it's not a dictatorship, because you need to be able to control information, and that's what people are walking
but
bundles of
can't you,
information.
Can't you control where they live? And kind of, to a degree, what conditions they live under?
Yes, but that's like an HOA.
I mean, HOAs are pretty damn close to a dictatorship.
I mean, I've never played
Yeah.
I've never played one, so I don't know.
I've never lived in an HOA before, so I can't say.
I will
I've
say
been
that
in an HOA, and it wasn't as bad as some of the other ones I've known.
on a quick callback to Animal Crossing, because I know don't want to get super deep into politics. I've already made my rant about it, so you can rewatch the episode from like 3 weeks ago or whatever. But Animal Crossing / Nintendo, or whoever actually develops, but I'm assuming it's sort of Nintendo's hand in this. So prior to the November election for the US, the Joe Biden campaign actually campaigned via Animal Crossing, and I had a little rant.
Oh, they did? I had no idea.
But Nintendo now has said, you can't do that. No more of that.
Really?
You've
they
already
actually
done
put
it.
their foot down on it.
Now, that being said, I don't know what value there is in saying that. Like, they said that probably just to say it, but I don't know what they would do to enforce it per se, because yes, you're playing their game and it's their platform and everything, but if your island has a Joe Biden sign on it, it's like, what are you going to do? Like, unless they delete that asset from the game, you know what I mean? So, but I think they're just saying that campaigning needs to stay out of Animal Crossing, which I thought was interesting. Whereas on the other hand, just this past weekend, AOC and Jagmeet Singh from the NDP party played Among Us together, and I watched for maybe half an hour, and it was like interesting, I guess. But
How was it? Were they good?
Bayford got really animated. I think he watched the beginning. I watched somewhere near the end. I was just like, none of my other streamers are on. I'll just watch this for a little bit as background noise.
Did it affect the way that you view certain politicians now?
No, because I'm sure it does for some people. I mean, largely it was an American stream anyway, so like Jagmeet was sort of at a disadvantage, generally speaking, and AOC obviously has established her platform already. Jagmeet, I think at one point he said that CBC was covering the stream because it was sort of like a big deal online. Like they did have tens of thousands of viewers and everything, which was cool and all.
Oh, and AOC last time, not this time, but last time she streamed Among Us, she was the most viewed channel on Twitch.
And that's not a
yes,
surprise.
you did mention that.
Yeah. And I don't know if they were close this time, but they still had tens of thousands of viewers, which I assume would catapult them.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, into the top 5 at the least or something.
Oh,
without
absolutely.
The stats. But in terms of like the actual campaigning and stuff, like I think it's cool that they obviously can reach out to people on chat and be like, they can answer questions. So there was essentially one person that seemed like while they were playing, one person was still monitoring chat and was like sort of moderating questions for them to answer every now and then, which was kind of cool, because I understand it. The platform, video gaming as a platform and streaming as a platform in general, great for reaching out to viewers that you don't normally get to reach out to. The politics part is the only problem I have with it. But that being said, they could still just stream without having to bring up the politics part of it. Obviously, that's the big part of it for them. But
I mean, they're politicians. Yeah. Politics is literally their life.
It sure
it's
is.
what they do.
But
so if you're going to AOC or Jagmeet Singh Twitch stream and not expecting politics,
that's true.
You're at the wrong stream.
Yeah, that's
all you can really say.
Remains to be seen whether the Republicans will take on.
Go watch some big titty V streamer instead.
Was it even possible to keep up with chat, like with so many people?
Like I think, like I said, one person was really doing the moderating and like the question gathering, and if that's all they have to do is like, they're not exactly taking names. They're not like, oh hi, like this is a shout out to Bob75. Like this is a question from Twitch. Like, oh, we've got 5 more questions from Twitch, and like they have it written down. They'll go through them sort of like sequentially or whatever. And I think that was interesting. I will say, and I give it props, I don't know much about their whole setup and who they invited, why they invited who or whatever. And I will actually say that the reason why I even watched the Among Us stream was there was a streamer that was part of the Among Us group that was playing with them that I will watch every now and then. So it's not like I was watching AOC specifically or Jugmeat's streams.
Oh, who was it?
Her name's Alana Charizard, or Chara Lana Zard is the name. She's like an Australian streamer, and she didn't really have anything to say on the politics, which I kind of like. She's Australian. She lives in the US, but she doesn't have a lot to contribute in that sense. And I was like, that's cool. I'm good with that. But I will say that I think it wasn't like, even though obviously the NDP are more on the are liberal mindset, and obviously AOC represents democratic mindsets and worldviews, the streamers did not seem to be particularly left or center or right leaning. They were like they would also chime in on governmental issues, because obviously they're all from all across the country, where AOC is from New York, but someone else is probably in, I don't know, Alabama or something, or like Seattle, like, so they had a lot of different region views about what was happening. So when things were brought up and answers were brought up, I liked the idea that like no one was like, well, like, of course, like everyone was just echo chambering that this is the right answer because everyone was left leaning in that conversation. Like
That's fair.
I did like that it was fair
So
discussion.
They were actually bringing diverse discussion to
in
the
good
table.
faith. So I thought that, like, I will give it props for that. But otherwise, I've said it before, I want to keep
Good faith discussion. That's something that doesn't happen often in politics.
at least not
My
in North America.
God.
But yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry if I've gone on too long for that. No more politics in my games, please. But anyways, that was just a quick look into it. Our anime stream is coming up, or not anime stream, our anime episode
review stream
preview.
We are going to give a few anime that we reviewed at the beginning of the season. The 3-episode test.
that
One
we
episode test, I
pre-reviewed
think.
without ever actually
One
having seen
episode
them.
test.
Yeah, because we're just marathoning everything.
Well, I mean, I've seen them
Yes.
all. I already have.
But we're just
I
doing
have
notes.
my opinions already built.
That's fine.
But it's going to be interesting to see what Jay and Nancy
Right.
think.
I'm
And
very
then we're
curious
gonna-
if Angelo will be able to stop himself from interjecting his opinion.
Yeah, try
Well, I'll just
overlay
put
on
myself on push to talk.
But then we'll also be doing the winter preview, because the winter season's coming up about a month from now. I think most of the stuff starts on the first week of January or so. So we'll be doing winter anime previews and giving our opinions on those. But that's pretty
Nice.
much it. That's what we've got going on going into the holiday season. So I don't know, stay around for that. We'll catch you next time, I guess.
Awesome. Have a good one, everybody.
Good night.
Fare thee well.